So the original Matrix is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, yes, you watch it now, you look at the computers, and you're like, oh God, that's so old. But everything else is amazing. The movie was ahead of its time when it was released. The sequels, Reloaded and Revolutions, I mean, they're not amazing, but they're decent. But they also do not live up to the original. But again, saying but a lot, it's hard to live up to a movie that's so good the first time around. So here we are, over 20 years later, and The Matrix Resurrections is here, starring Keanu Reeves, Carrie Moss, and it's, I don't know, it was interesting. So instead of being dead at the end of Revolutions, it turns out both Neo and Trinity were saved, resurrected by the Machine City, and then thrown back into the pods and into the new Matrix. Which, in this new Matrix, the Matrix is a video game, and I mean, really, the most of the beginning of the movie is very meta, because they talk about the Matrix constantly. But at the same time, a lot of the arguments they bring up about the Matrix and sequels are things that people have been studying about the original movie since it came out. One thing I will say that I definitely was not too much of a fan of in Resurrections was the constant flashbacks we got. We as fans know what happened in The Matrix, in Reloaded, in Revolutions. We don't need reminders throughout the fourth film. If you're going into The Matrix Resurrections having not seen 1 through 3, you got no business being in the theater or watching on an HBO Max. I know that sounds kind of douchey, but it's true. If you don't know anything about the Matrix movies, I mean, this is a direct sequel. It is not a reboot. It is a sequel, a continuance of the story. And if you don't know the story, why are you seeing it? But anyway, both Keanu Reeves and Carrie Moss are fantastic in this movie, and they seriously have not aged a day, and I hate them for it. Reeves and Moss, their dynamic is absolutely fantastic. Still, there are a few other returning actors, including, what's her name? Fucking Will Smith's wife. Why can't I think of Jada Pinkett Smith? She plays her character from Reloaded and Revolutions, though super old, because it turns out it has not been 20 years, it has been 60 years. There's a lot of great action sequences, though they're not as stylized as the original Matrix, which was a little surprising to me, especially since now we have so much updated technology. I feel like they could have not only done more, but added to it. Well, I guess that kind of means the same thing, doesn't it? They also went really heavy on the bullet time, which it kind of made it feel less special. Out of the new characters, I say Jessica Henwick's Bugs was probably the best. She was the only good part of fucking Iron Fist. Iron Fist was fucking terrible! It was a shit show. But Jessica Henwick was great in it. So I'm glad to see her actually getting more bigger roles now. And Neil Patrick Harris, I mean, he really should be playing villains more often. He's fucking awesome. The Matrix Resurrections is not perfect, not at all, but you can't be better than a movie that's already a masterpiece. You just can't. But that doesn't mean Resurrections is a bad movie. It's overall pretty good. I think it continues the story very well in a way that makes sense. And they, of course, left it open for a sequel. I give The Matrix Resurrections, I give it a solid B. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's not a bad movie. It's acceptable. I feel like it's a worthy sequel.
Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.